that with a metal roller as well. So we'll do a couple of things like that. So anyways, let's just start standing nice and tall. Bring your shoulders up, back, and around. Find your placement as even as you can. When we stand more specifically, you are going to find that you breathe more efficiently. When you don't have a good, when your stance is off or you're kind of off in position, turned out, turned in, leaning into one side, you're going to notice your breath. Or if you don't notice, your breath is probably off because your balance is also off. So finding that nice, even balance is super important. If it's comfortable to you, close your eyes. Exhale. Try to relax your glutes. Notice how your legs are. Since you just set up your legs, you can take a look at them and see if you feel like they're in the position that you left them. It's always great to create those cognitive connections to your movement. We tend to know when we feel bad and make connections to it. But even when we feel good, we very rarely know how to make the connection to what we've done or how we're moving that helps us to feel good. Let's just begin with rolling the shoulders up, back, and around. And just kind of go to a place where you're not getting a lot of clicking, cracking, or popping. So if that's a small shoulder roll, keep it there. If that's a little bit bigger, go ahead and go into that a little bit more. And as you feel more available to do it, move your shoulders a little bit more bigger range of motion. And again, do not move into pain. So move slower. Even if you had a big range of motion, you can still move slower. Make sure you're moving with your breath. So like say inhale and exhale. If you find a tight spot, pause for a second, inhale again and exhale. So be intentional in your movement and your breath. 2 more. And then we're going to roll forward. Now, forward is a tricky thing because our body tends to be more forward, but we still need to find all the ranges of motion. My guess is you're not doing this either all day. So moving the body in every range of motion. 2 more. And again, if there's a lot of pain or pressure, go ahead and make sure that you go slower or make sure that you breathe deeper into that movement. Let's alternate going backwards. And we're not bending the elbows to alternate. You're rolling the shoulders and feel as you get bigger how you can get into your ribs. Connecting very specifically our lungs and our shoulders. When you breathe, you fill and expand the wall all the way across. It's like when you breathe down to your diaphragm, you can typically feel it into your pelvic floor. And then go forward. Again, you're trying not to have too much tension or pressure, no pain for sure. And then let's swing up and back, just up and back. So all of this would be connected to mobility and or potentially stretching. Remember, stretching is really a joint to joint down a muscle line, where mobility is more joint specific and range of motion, while the rest of the body stays still. Swing your arms forward and back. Now, any one of these movements is great for releasing stress and tension. Again, it's all about movement and control with intention. I'm crossing one arm over the other. You could stay one side, but it's good to kind of find both. Let's bring one arm up, one arm down. I've got my palms facing forward. A little crunchiness in there on this one for me. And then let's bring those arms out and roll in. Roll open, roll in like a little figure 8. Round the upper back. One more time. And come in. Take your hands down between your thighs, and you're just going to pull up and release. So I'm just taking my hands underneath my thighs. I'm rounding and releasing, rounding and releasing, rounding, pulling the tension, releasing, breathing, lift the chest and release one more time. And then take the hands behind the back. So I just got them here, no big, you can have them lower if you want, you can even go higher. And we're just going to kind of pull those elbows back and forward. Get a little bit more tension. You can have your hands open. A little less tension. Do 3 more, 2 more, and last one. Good. Take your left arm across. As I do that, so this is more of a stretch. I'm going to take my left hand underneath and above my right elbow, but then push down. So I'm actually pressing downward as I'm pushing upward, just holding that. And that 4 big breaths. Breathe down into the belly, not just into the back. And then release, and then let's do the other side. Again, I'm pushing down with my left as I'm pushing back with my right. One more breath. Let's take your left hand back and your right hand overhead. And just pull the chest high, bring those elbows back. Big breaths. So we tend to mistake that when we get into pain, we should stretch, because stretch is becoming a ubiquitous term. The downside is if we've gotten in pain because we're kind of slightly injured, the issue can be that we are overstretching something that's already been stretched so much, because that's why it got kind of hurt. Big breath, pull those elbows back, lift that chest. One more deep breath. And then down. Good. Roll those shoulders up, back, and around one time. Just stand there and just notice how you're standing. Notice if just changing the function of your upper body helps to balance your lower body a little bit more. Giving yourself always an opportunity to check in. Inhale, take your arms up wide and overhead. Interlace your fingers, pull your hands down, lift your elbows up. Watch that you're not tensing your neck, just let your chin drop into your hands. Let them rise through the arms, kind of help lift and lengthen, almost give some traction to the neck. Two more. And then press down, inhale up, take your hands back, index finger underneath the base of the skull, thumbs down towards the shoulders, and lift the chest up. Pull the neck up off the shoulders. You're not really bending backwards, but you are lifting your chest. Big breath, 3. Now a full inhale and a full exhale can take you about 15 seconds, so you can time things well. That's 3 or 4 breaths is about a minute. Turn your palms up and then release your hands down to your side. A couple more times, just nice, easy roll of the shoulders. Good. All right, let's get down to the ground. And we're going to sit on the roller if you want. If you have a chair next to a table or whatever, you can use that instead and be on the table. And we're going to do just a simple hand treatment. And so we'll start with just a check. So placing the large soft ball in the middle of your hand, just give it a squeeze. So it's kind of like with your feet, you can squeeze your feet, kind of open and close them, and that can give you some good information onto kind of how your lower body's doing with inflammation. If you squeeze and you can see, or make a fist and you can see the little knuckles in the toes, you can really see how much inflammation you might have or how much stuck kind of hydration fluid in your lower leg. Same with your hands. As you give the ball a squeeze, does it feel like your hand is full and stiff? Switch hands to the other hand. Or does it feel pretty easy and strong to do it? Or is it just kind of feeling it, you know, maybe your thumb, index finger, pinky feels like it's being crowded out. Maybe it's not really getting a good grip. And then just back and forth, right and left. And just kind of give a sense of which hand might be stronger. Good. And that's it. Just put the ball, just hold the ball in the hand now. You're going to pick a ball, hand, and then we're just going to do it. You're going to go right between the fingers as low as you can with that large soft ball and give it a squeeze. So we're opening up the spaces between the knuckles and then switch to the next finger. If you can't go all the way down to the base of the webbing of the fingers, don't worry about it. You can go a little higher, squeeze. When we move our hands, we get that blood flow returning, fluid return to go back, and then squeeze. For the first time today, I read in an article a piece of information about what's called interstitium. And interstitium is the fluid between the layers and it really has a lot to do with the fascial layer. And only since about 2016 or so has really fascia been part of the system of movements for the whole body. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty nice to start seeing it more mainstream. Go ahead and take that ball, and we're going to press it into the knuckle behind the thumb, press down, and then the index finger, press down, release, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky finger. You can see the knuckles come up. Position point 4, or 3 rather, is on the outside edge of the hand, kind of on the lower aspect of the hand on that pad. Press down. Position 4 is down right through the center, kind of that carpal tunnel area. Remember, we're not going into hyperflexion here. We're just pressing and kind of making some space. And then position 5 is below the knuckle of the thumb. And then from there, keep your middle finger on the ground and let's move that hand back and forth. Now you can do this, obviously we've done this before in our hands, and even this motion back and forth can kind of warm up the hand and do it in your hand that way, or the ball in your hand as well. A couple more passes. And then pause. And then we're just going to go kind of scratching motion, and then pressing motion, and then circle. And then pause. Hold, and then we're going to rinse. So we're going to rinse knuckle to nail, starting with your pinky finger, ring finger, middle, index, and thumb. Go back against the thumb. Go in between the fingers this time. In between, and in between, and down. We're going to take the ball. I'm going to come off my roller so I'm more on the ground, and I'm going to go down my forearm. One more time, down my forearm. So I'm really kind of getting that hydration down all the way up to the elbow and beyond. All right, let's do the other hand. Go ahead and place the ball right between the knuckles of the second hand. And then ring finger and middle finger. And then pinky finger and ring finger. Tension in there. And then thumb. And then release. Good. Let's take the ball to the floor, press down, thumb, and release. Index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Press into that position point 3, right between in the carpal tunnel, position 4, and position 5 below the thumb. Make sure that middle finger stays there, and let's do our glide back and forth. Keep that pressure consistent. Again, you can do it in your hands so that you're hand to hand, and so you're kind of getting both hands done at the same time. And then pause at your thumb, and we'll kind of itch, and then we'll press, and then we'll make a circle. And then pause. Let the tissue respond. Let's go knuckle to nail, pinky finger, ring, middle, index, thumb, in between each finger and on the outsides, and then down your foot. One more time. Then let's just get into, if you have 2 balls, that's great. You could do friction with both of them at the same time. You can do both. You can do 1 ball in your hand. You can do 1 ball at a time on the ground as well. All right. Let's recheck that grip strength. I'll loosen something up in my hand. Release. And then hand to hand. I'm just going to notice. Definitely you can get some level of strength, by squeezing a ball and giving yourself that ability to make a fist and release, and also doing position points on the individual fingers, really strengthening each individual finger. All right, let's go ahead and let's come to the ground with your roller. Now, if you didn't have a roller, and you guys do, but if you didn't have a roller, you could use a rolled up mat for this. You're going to take your roller, and you want your mat pretty tight, but you would take your mat or your roller behind your neck. If you have a more classic kind of a non-melt roller, which is the firmer ones, the harder part about them is they're higher. So you may want to put a couple of maybe blankets or mats underneath you, just so you would raise yourself up and have this be more on the ground behind your mats, so that your body's raised up and the roller's not as high. So put that roller right towards the base of the skull, kind of like where we put our index finger and our thumb when you had your index fingers at the base of your skull when you were holding that last stretch. Hands are dropped out to the side. We're going to do 3 positions. Nose straight up, and then we're going to be on the side. So we're going to be behind the ear, and then we're going to be on the cheek. So this is our first position here, and you're just going to lengthen the neck. Eyes up, eyes down, eyes up. You can track if you want, or you can just find the elongation. And the key here is not so much that you're just nodding your head, but as your chin goes down, you're allowing the length coming from the back side. So you're lengthening your neck and then just coming up to neutral, and then lengthening and neutral. This should be in a place where you're almost not able to hold it instead of too far down, because it's not on the neck at all. So we're just kind of releasing the muscles, especially those muscles that attach right into the cranium. And remember, whatever's happening to the cervical muscles and sacrum is also kind of affecting the sacrum as well. One more time. All right, so I'm going to go to my right side first, and I want to just make the roller go right behind my right ear. So I'm just kind of looking out right here, and this time I'm just nodding this way. I'm going to do 2 different nods. And so I'm right behind my ear on the bony protrusion behind my ear. And then I'm going to pin the skin and move forward and back. Take my glasses off. Pin the skin and just move forward and back. You can do around in a circle if you want. But remember, we're moving the skin, not moving the head. So you're not sliding the head so much. Pause. Take a deep breath. And I'm just going to go right to my left side. So I'm extending my left arm. So I'm not kind of dropping in too deep. And then again, I'm just nodding. I'm just getting a light massage underneath the occiput. And then pin the skin and move my skin and the fascial tissue forward and back or side to side. Good, pause. And then let's come up. And then we're going to go over to the right. So I want my right arm extended out. I'm going to adjust the roller so it's on my cheekbone. And then I'm just going to nod. You can make a circle if you want. And then I'm going to pin my skin and move my cheek, my face, kind of pointing my nose forward and back. So this is part of what's called the trigeminal nerve. And it is one of the cranial nerves. And it goes up to above the forehead, out to the nose, and down underneath the mouth. And so these are areas that we get a lot of tension, sinuses, and this can help with that as well. Relax the face. And then pause. So we got tear duct, we've got nasal, we've got our saliva down in here as well. Good, go ahead and pause. I'm going to tip to the other side, so I'm not totally looking away from you. And you're just going to tip over to your left side. Left arm reaches out. Jaw is right on, or sorry, your brow, your cheekbone, sorry, is right on the roller. Now, I'm not putting very much tension here. It's pretty light tension. I'm for sure not holding my head up though. And then pause and move forward and back. And then pause. Just pause and wait. Good. And then let's come on up. Go ahead and get into all fours. Move the roller out of the way. Hands and knees, toes can curl under or point back, you choose. And just sit back and come forward. Now, be careful if you have any upper back or shoulder issues right now that are causing any pain. Just go light. And if you need to bring yourself up a little bit higher, bring yourself up, and you can move with the roller a little bit too. Or just back onto the ground. Your hands can be slightly turned out or forward facing. So this long position of the head to the body is great for postural muscles, keeping everything back in alignment. We tend to be here, and that's part of our shoulder neck problem too. Go ahead and pause, and we're going to roll the shoulders. So it's not so much that we're letting the head drop, it's that we're allowing the shoulders to move with and into gravity. So it's a little bit more challenging than a regular shoulder motion. two more. And last one. Good. Curl your toes, reach your arms out, come to your forearms, and just let the forehead drop to the ground. Upper back, a little stretched. Breathe. Come up. Take your right hand. Actually, I'm going to do my left. Take your left hand on your belly. Drop your right elbow to the ground, and then look up towards your left. So you're rotating your torso, but not very far. About 3 breaths. Now take your left hand down. Put your right hand right on your belly, and then turn towards your right. This helps us to not over rotate or just use the shoulder. And then again, let's do the left side, but then this time we're going to take the left hand behind the back. Forearm down and rotate towards your left. And then down, and then take the right hand behind your back and rotate. Big breath. And then come back down. And then let's bring ourselves forward and grab your strap. From here, you're just going to take simple strap motion. You can hold the strap in half. If you've got a band that's really, you've got a lot of bounce to it, just let yourself try to not pull too hard. All I'm going to do is just sit nice and tall and pull my arms back. I've got a roller underneath my legs, so I don't have to hold my legs up. Drop my fists into the ground, lift my chest up. And then release. Keep a hold of the band. If you want to create the full loop of the band, go ahead and do so, because we're going to kind of grab it. We're going to grab the strap, and the loop will just help. You don't have to do that, though. So come onto your belly. And then you're going to take your band behind your back, and then either hold or get your hands into the loop. Or head to the ground and raise your hands up. Pull your hands towards where the ceiling meets the wall. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. And then release. Take that same loop to overhead. Got my hands in my loop. Tighten my strap a little bit. Just got my hands in my loop a little bit wider than my shoulders out. So this is a little easier than just having your hands, because it has something to press into, than just raising your arms over your head. So you could drop your chin to the ground and just raise your arms over or towards your head. Press outward. Don't get into your shoulders. If that's too much, you lower your hands and just have your hands on the ground, pressing outward. And then lower down. Good. Take that strap, place it out to the side. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to slide it all the way underneath me and then lower my body over my right arm. Big breath. Breathe into the ribs. Feel the stretch of the back side of the shoulder. Reach overhead with the left arm. Try to relax everything else. And then move the left hand in to release the right arm. Take that left arm underneath the body and then reach out with the right arm. Slide that right arm in, breathing. And then let's just make a pillow out of the hands and let the head drop and just rest for a couple of breaths. Having your head being neutral instead of turning to the right or to the left helps not to get and kind of aggravate any of those rotational movements or overstretched movements, under mobilized. And then let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Lift the chest, come right back onto your heels as best as you can, reaching the arms out. Slide the hands under the shoulders, bring yourself up, and let's come to a stand. So let's come back to where we started with our feet underneath us. Make sure you know where those feet are. Bring your head over your shoulders, over your hips. And just stand there. Notice if you've given yourself a nice movement. Maybe the shoulders even feel lighter. Maybe they feel like they're less pulled. How does the foundation of your stand? Does it feel more evenly weighted, even though we didn't do like anything with our lower body? Take your arms up and overhead reach. Exhale down. Inhale, bring your hands up. Press out. Inhale, both arms overhead.